Hi everyone, and welcome to Paper Pumpkin Week here on Creative Chelsey. Today I'm sharing with you my fourth alternative card idea using the September 2025 Paper Pumpkin kit called Fall For Toile. This kit creates a total of 9 cards, 3 in these 3 different designs, and of course it includes coordinating envelopes. If you would like to watch me unbox the kit and create these cards, or see any of my other alternatives, you can click on the playlist in the top right corner. For today, I am showing you how you can transform a simple rectangle shape, like this one, this is the original card, into something unique by cutting it in half and rearranging the pieces. This layout gives such a different look compared to the original card. If you are new to Paper Pumpkin and are interested in getting your own monthly crafting kit, you can subscribe using the link in the description below. All right, so before we begin, let's go over the things you need from the kit. So you're going to need the cornfield die cut rectangle. You're going to need the leaf. This is the one with the orange on the right side. And you will need the long greeting label, as well as some pieces cut from the card bases in the kit. And if you haven't already checked out my cutting template, you can get that guide in my blog. There's a link below as well as on my blog. And you're going to need this piece from the brown checkered. It is, if I remember correctly, let's do, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 inch. And then I have a 1/2 inch strip, which is 3 3/4 inches long. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin by cutting our rectangle piece we're going to cut it right here at the end of the fence. And that's going to put us at 1 7/8 inches here on the left. And I think it gives us 2 7/8 inches on the right. Okay, so just at the end of that fence, you're going to cut, and the size here is 1 7/8, and the size here is 2 7/8. Then we're going to add these to our brown plaid piece. And we're just going to flip-flop the sides. So the left side is now going to be on the right, and we're going to put even spacing on the top and bottom. I'm just going to stand it up so that both edges kind of meet, and then put the right side on the left. And that just really creates a unique look that is interesting to our eye. It's like a little puzzle that our eye wants to put together. Okay, and if they don't match up perfectly, like the borders, that's okay. But that's what it's going to look like. Let's go ahead and just pop this onto our card base. So I'm using a card base of Early Espresso. It is 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches and scored at 4 1/4. And I'm going to add this piece with dimensionals. And once you've removed the paper backing, go ahead and just stick that right in the center. Just like that. And then we can start adding some of our details. So if we go with that light brown toile, this is, what did I say, 3 inches? 3 3/4 inches by a 1/2 inch. I'm going to cut a little banner shape on the left side just to mimic the banner of the greeting. This is going to get popped up with dimensionals. There we go. Okay. Then you're going to add your leaf. I'm just going to pop that on with some dimensionals under my orange leaf on the right and my yellow leaf on the left. And then if you want to add a little liquid glue or, glue dots, you can. That part's going to touch our brown toile piece. And this is just going to go on at an angle similar to that. It's like a little V at the top, okay, with those two that have the dimensionals, and then this has that glue on it. Then let's go ahead and stamp our greeting. I'm going to have the flag be on the left, and I'm going to do thinking of you, but you could also do, I think it's warm wishes would also work with this length of label. Just stamp that in Cajun Craze. Try to get it in the center. If it doesn't work, you can always flip it over. There's two sides. Mine's a little crooked, but I think it's okay. This is also going to get popped up on the right side, and then a little liquid glue on the left, or you could use a glue dot. And that's going to attach to the leaf. It just goes right on top. There's no overlap here unless you want there to be. And that's what I'm talking about, overlapping this brown piece. So if you want to overlap it, you can. It does overlap. It does overlap the leaf. And then you can leave it like this, or you can add a little stamped detail. I've added some geese in the corner as well as some pumpkins. And I'm going to show you that right now. I did stamp these in early espresso instead of the Cajun Craze. So if you want to do that, or you can use a different brown color. And right there in the corner. And then for the pumpkins, I am going to take the envelope piece. So from yesterday's alternative, we cut off all the flaps from the envelopes. I did mention that you can use the front of these for your inside of your dark card bases, just like this early espresso one we're using. So if you want, you can cut it down. I like to mimic this, like a similar layout on the inside as I have on the outside. So let's just do that really quick. So we're going to stamp on this back piece. But if I wanted to turn this into a piece that I could write on, we were going to do, it's 3 7/8, if I remember right, by 5 1/8. I think that was the right size. Yep. And so then that can just get added right to the center of the inside. So it's a really great use of that envelope paper there. And then for the back side, you can do any stamping. And I've got a fun technique we're going to use to get multiple pumpkins stamped in a row. So you're going to first stamp your pumpkin. And then you're going to stamp your pumpkin again on some masking paper. This is the Stampin' Up! Masking paper. And we're going to create a mask here. So there is a front and back side. The front side feels more like paper. The back side feels like adhesive backing. And when I cut this out, I only need to cut out the right side, because that's where I'm going to stamp, is right on the right edge. I want to cut right along that stamped line so that I get a nice connection. The hardest part sometimes is pulling the paper off. If you cut at an angle, sometimes it's a little easier. So right on that edge, you're going to put your masking paper, and then you're going to stamp one more time over the masking paper. And then when you remove it, I'm going to show you, it's always magical, but it gives an illusion that this group is in front of that group. I love that technique. Okay, and you can color these pumpkins any way you want. I wanted a little softer color because I feel like the leaves in like the die cut leaves have a softer color. So I'm going to use my watercolor pencils. That one I did all orange, the pumpkin pie. For this one, I'm going to add some Cajun craze to it. Mostly do Cajun craze, and then I might go over with a little pumpkin pie just to give it a little more orangey feel. And then for my second one, or my third one, I'm going to do Daffodil Delight. We're going to make it a little more yellow. It's fun to give some different colors to the pumpkins. And again, go over it with a little bit of orange. And then my last pumpkin, I also had crushed curry in there, so I'm going to use crushed curry. And this gives you 4 different ways that you can color your pumpkins. Okay, and then the tops, I did just early espresso. So those are my pumpkins. And once you've finished coloring them in, you can go ahead and fussy cut them out. And I'm just going to do that off screen, and then I'll be right back. All right, so there's my pumpkins. I've also added a dimensional and some liquid glue. So liquid glue on the left, dimensional on the right, and then I'm just going to pop that right on top of my greeting, or right above my greeting. And my card is all done. And if you want to add a little linen thread bow or some embellishments, you can definitely do that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing how I created this fun and unique card today. If you're interested in getting written instructions or seeing close-up images on how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you would like to get your own monthly crafting kit, you can subscribe using the link in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.